All right, hey everybody. We've got Wayne and Mark here, and this is our weekly session on Environmental Professionals Network. And we made some really good progress over the last week, and I want to share that with you. We actually have over 150 projects that are available to us. And the big challenge is there aren't enough of us. So we're not going to be able to get proposals submitted for nearly as many of them as we would like. I'm going to spend some time here tonight showing you some of those, talking about them, and just showing how some of my staff asked over the last several days, you know, can we just have a template that you give us, and every one of these proposals, you know, we just follow that template and we do things the same way each time. Unfortunately, that's not doable, and that's not something that is something that is very easy, because everyone is a little bit different, and so there's kind of a process that you can use that's the same one from project to project, but there's just enough difference that if you just try to do everything the same way, you're probably not going to win when you make a proposal. I'm going to open up an email. You leave on your screen, Mark. I'm going to open something up here so I can show that in a minute when I take the screen. So the two big things that happened over the last week is that we are now officially users. We have what's called a user account, which is the highest level of an account that you can have with BidNet. And we've been having almost daily discussions with them about what all the details of it are. We are still going to be adding, gosh, this is screwy. I'm trying to search for an email, and it just keeps taking me to the wrong search. Here we go. There it is. So anyway, we've now formally in our contract with them, and we can now set up our members having their own, really the same information that EPN is going to be getting. Only way you can get this deal really from BidNet, which is an amazing opportunity, is through us, is through EPN. We pay thousands of dollars, multiple thousands, for our annual BidNet membership. You will pay $90. And that's just incredible. If you went to BidNet directly, you would have to pay minimally $5,000, probably $5,600, and then their what we would call rack rate, what you see published, or if you talk just to a salesperson, you would be charged as much as $20,000 for membership per year. Our two representatives, who are amazing and will be working with us on a day-to-day basis, are Jim Malurk and also Corinne, and I can't think of her last name right now. She goes by Corey. We had a meeting with them today. We're still picking out categories that we want to make sure that get searched for on a regular basis by the process that BidNet does. And we would love to get suggestions of new and different ones from you than the ones that we've submitted. And John who's on here, on the call here tonight, on the webinar, my partner in EPN, spent a little more time on the phone with the BidNet people after I got off, and they've sent us a list of 300 different new categories that we can choose from to add additional areas in which specific projects will be looked for. We're going to end today's session. Last thing we're going to work on is I'm going to pull up several projects that we already have that we can be putting bids together for, and we are going to be putting them. Again, the problem we have is we don't have enough people right now to really get as many of them prepared as we have. So we'd really like our membership to step up and be willing to be involved in proposal preparation. That's really a strong need. So if you're willing, I would like you to put into the question box, just put in, yes, I'd be willing to work on proposals, and we'll get a hold of you and talk about what that would involve. John, who could put this in, he's probably muted. I don't know whether he can even use his microphone today, but we were actually putting together the bid for one particular project, which is in Greene County, Ohio, where the county seat is a town called, or city called Xenia. It's about 10 miles east of Dayton, Ohio. And the proposal that we'll be preparing for them is for doing lead assessment and lead consulting for the city for their community housing projects, of which they have, for a town or a city of 30,000 people, we probably got several thousand units. And it's a very easy one to do because we're going to use a lead consulting firm that will become an EPN member to actually do the day-to-day on the project. We have presence in Ohio. We have a staff that are there. And so it's going to be a real, compared to, let's say, doing a project in a state where we don't currently have EPN members or don't have our own staff through my environmental companies, in this place we do. So John was reaching out to about 10 different lead consulting companies. When I say lead like the lead in metal, to see if they would be interested in being our partners. And John, you might put in the Q&A box whether you had any success with that today, whether you reached anybody that is potentially interested. So we're going to start by showing you what's new this week. So it's not just the BidNet relationship. We've added some things to both the EPN free website, which Mark's going to scroll down and show you here in just a second. And then we've also added to the EPN Associates membership shop. So you don't need to be on the home page here, Mark. Just go to the EPN free product. And let's stay on the resources. I was going to get to that second, but we could start with that. What we've added is last week's webinar, the recording for it. So if he scrolls all the way down, you're going to see that we've done 6. This is the 7th, I believe. So all those replays are there. You can check out any of them. That's a little different than we do with EAT. Free members don't get to see all the webinars for the EAT community, but our members of EPN Free do. So then now click on Dr. Latham's course. This is something that we've added here that we're selling right now to third parties, and we're selling it at an extreme discount right now, but we would be selling it at considerably more eventually. And Dr. Latham is a neurologist. He's incredible at what he does. He spent 3 different webinar sessions with us, and We then edited, and I'm going to have Mark show you just a little bit of this course, so and how you get it. So he's in the EPN free site. All of you are EPN free members. So scroll down, Mark, on this page. Click on the link there to Community, to that one. That's where you would click. And this is what's called a lead page, or a landing page. You don't, again, if this was for somebody new, it would be teaching them a little bit about Dr. Latham and what this course involves. But for you guys, I'm just showing you this because Mark's going to have to fill some things out here. So this talks a little bit about Dr. Latham, talks about the course. So you'll go down here and you'll put your email. So Mark, do one that you've made up now. So put a couple more dots in it. We taught you this before. Don't click on that yet, unless you don't. I guess you can do it with your name, but you probably won't be able to get this done with your name, Mark, because you already are an administrator. So you won't be able to do it. Okay. So you need to go back and put some dots in your name, Mark. So again, I taught this a little bit before. Put in your email address, Mark. Whoa, Mark, what's going on? We got some real feedback going on. Just put a couple dots. I don't know if you realize it, folks, but Gmail allows you to do this, and it looks to third-party sites like it's a different email address, but as far as Gmail is concerned, it's the same one. So all your email to this email address that he just made up will come to his primary address, which does not have the dots in it. And it's still not letting you. So you're going to need to, let's go back, Mark, and go back to the EPN free and click on that and open it in an incognito window. So you need to go back to add that link. No, yeah, there we go. You're already, yeah. So he's going in now as an incognito, which you guys don't need to worry about this. This is something else to learn though. If you're ever doing a bunch of work on your computer and you've got so many cookies and other things, and you use Chrome as your browser, and I think it works the same way on Edge, which is the new Microsoft one, and the same. So just put that in, Mark, and then you just put some dots in. So you put it, oh, okay, you can use that one. All right, cool. So then you click on get the free course. And here's a key. It says it in the EPN free post, but the coupon code is EP in caps, EPN Latham. You may have to put that in caps, but I'm not sure. Just try it this way. Let's try it this way. And then you'd want, yeah, and you can use that one. So no, you've already got, you can't go in with that email address. You already have an account, Mark. So you got to put some dots in or do something different. Did you apply the coupon, Mark? All right. Again, we're teaching you here, everybody. So this is what you do. Mark's making it look a lot harder than it is, actually. But so then he clicks sign in. Well, no, you can't use that, Mark. You've already got an account with that email address. So, Mark, I apologize, but I didn't really want you to go in that way. So put a different email address, please. Put in mine with a bunch of dots in it, doesn't matter. But you got to put a bunch of dots in. Mark, you got to put a bunch of dots in. Okay, now apply the coupon code. Put in some phone number. It won't let you do it without the phone number, I don't think so. Just put that in, doesn't matter. So now you create an account. Now here, Mark, don't create an account, a separate one. Just go in and look, pull it out off of EAT, off of the EAT page. So this is what you do the next step. And you just fill out, now you'd have an EPN, but you probably already have one, so you wouldn't need to do that. Go to that product on the EAT site, Mark. So go to the Latham product on EAT. This is a very cool course. If you guys did not watch these, he does a really good job. That's why I want to make sure to show it to you. Now, Mark, you need to do preview because I don't want you to show it as an admin. Okay. So I think there are 21 different segments. So just scroll down and show a couple of them. So there's the first, it starts out with a little introduction, what can be learned. And then there's a talk one, which is broken into 4 sections, each one of them 10 to 15 minutes long. Talk two, just click on one of those. So there's going to be a little description of what is in this particular segment, and then it'll be, in this case, how long is that one, Mark? I've got to minimize my. Okay. Okay. So they're all 5 to 15 minutes. You can download them. You can download the audio for them if you'd like also. So again, really nice benefit. Now, why am I telling you this? You guys are already members. Because I hope you guys want to earn money from EPN. And you can do that by introducing EPN to other people, getting them to sign up. This free site alone has huge value. And we're giving it away to people. So just keep that in mind. And we're making it better all the time. So this course is now free for anybody that becomes an EPN free member. All right, now Mark, let's go to the EPN Associate site because I want to show everybody what we've done there. So this happens to be, we've at the first 2 sections, welcome to the membership portal, and the EPN Elite Associate NDA and Agreement, those have been there. Nothing's changed on those. But I've added 2 new categories. One is all these potential available government projects. And there's a spreadsheet on this next page. that shows that this gets updated daily. So slow down, go back to the top, Mark. Go to the first project. The only negative, the way right now that this is, for whatever reason, we're just going to go in and change it, but you can't see what each of the columns, what the heading is. You got to go up a little higher, Mark, so they can see the heading. They can't see it right now. There you go. So the first one is the project name. The next is the closing date, and then the state that it's in. And then you'll need to scroll down at the bar at the bottom to see the next columns, Mark. The next column is a little more of a description of the project. Don't scroll down, Mark. Go back to the top. Thank you. And the next column after this is, we want to see what the next column is, Mark. So you need to scroll, moving it to the left. There we go. Is project documents. Now we don't have project documents on all these yet because we haven't started a proposal process. As we start a proposal process, this is where we'll put in what documents, whether it's the proposal itself or whether there's forms that we need to fill out, all kinds of things. I'm going to show you that here in just a few minutes. So keep scrolling, a couple more columns. The cool thing, and I've said this before about spreadsheets, is you can add columns. We need to see the top, Mark, so please, there you go. So the next column rates the project and kind of says, is it something we think we could get? So possible means it probably is. If we really think it's something we could have a really good chance at getting, we call it probable. If it's something we think could be a slam dunk to get, if we just submit, we call that excellent. And if it's something we're not so confident about, we call it not likely. So that's what you'll see in this column. So scroll to the next column, Mark. We then assign a priority to it, which just says 1 to 10. How likely is it that we'll get, that we could, if we bid on these, whether we get them or not. So possible is around 5. Probable is 6 and above. Excellent is 7 or 8 and above. Not likely is less than 5. The next one, we just added this, so we don't have it for all days. We just have it for the last 2. We get an email from BidNet every 5 days a week. So this one that we're looking at doesn't have the date on it, but we've added that from the 19th and the 20th, yesterday and today. I'm going to show you one of those in just a minute. And then the last one, there's 2 more, no, 1 more. Then we're going to provide who the leaders are. So anybody that's an associate can come in. This will always be updated as we make the changes. So now, Mark, why don't you share the screen with me? And I'll show the rest here. Okay. Tell me when you see my screen. Okay. So this is something that's going to be added to the web page. This is a project for the next week, but I wanted to show it to you now because it is what an incredible program that we've gotten with BidNet. And this is just sort of a brochure for it. I've already mentioned how Jim Mallerk is our dedicated government marketing consultant. This guy's done projects all over the country. He's gotten bids and so on. And he's worked with BidNet, I think, for 14 years now. We get all these benefits that you see below here. We get access to state, county, local, public education, public health care, what are called quasi-governmental agency entities, everything that comes out federally. We have a historical library service, so we'll be able to store everything that we have for as long as we want. We get auto notifications from what are called BidNet regional purchasing groups. That alone is a couple $100 a month item that otherwise, if you didn't belong to EPN, that you'd have to buy separately. And that comes through something called BidNet Direct, which if you go to the BidNet Direct page and look at these purchasing groups, you'll see what an amazing opportunity that is. And yet, again, you're going to be able to get it for $90. BidNet Direct has 1,500 active purchasing agencies. So they're essentially collaborations of entities that help find public bids that are out there, and then they put them in BidNet's hands, and then BidNet passes them on to us. Very often, we're going to get notice before anybody else will. We'll know about those contracts that have what are called expiring terms, which means they're already in place. The agency hasn't yet put out a request for proposal, but you know they're going to because the current contract is going to expire. So you get a head start in preparing information. There's budgetary information. We know about awards that occur. We get information about grants. We get all the amendments that come out for any given proposal. We get sorting by what are called IGP codes. We get, like I said, a customized daily bulletin, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. Jim is our dedicated government market consultant. And then we get all kinds of tools like what's called BidNet's executive assistant. If you are an associate or an advisor member of EPN, and you market this just by telling somebody else that becomes an EPN associate member about it, and they buy it, you get a 25% commission for them paying their $90. You know, it's not huge, but you know, it's what, $22 or something. And again, that's annual. You get that over and over and over again. Getting this is a real huge benefit for EPN. So we negotiated all this. We're not completely through with all the pieces yet. This document will be put up onto the EPN Associates page, and also the EPN Free, so that you can download it, you can print it, give it to other people, so on. If you were to call Jim Malurk here and say that you're wanting to get BidNet because you're an environmental consultant, he would ask you right away, how'd you hear about us? Or are you associated at all with EPN? Point being, he would screen and not allow you to buy it separately. Again, you can always get used by people, but I don't think that's going to happen much. Let's see, I think we have a question here that I'm going to try to address. Craig asks, how do you plan to execute the go, no-go process? Well, until we get a much larger group of members, there's about 4 or 5 of us that are going to be the proposal team, and we're going to decide which ones we think we can get done first, so we can complete them on the timing that's required for the bids or the proposals. And then once we've decided we can do that, if we make a yes decision, and I'm going to show you 2 or 3 very specific ones here in just a minute. The next go, no go will be once we start to prepare it, when we see what the agency, that the governmental entity is asking for, we'll start to see, can we really perform? And can we win? I think I've said this before, but a very high percentage of local governmental requests for proposal are wired for somebody. They're literally written so that they know already when they write the specs who's going to win it. That's just the nature of the whole proposal and bidding process. We want to try to figure out as quick as we can whether that wiring has happened so we don't waste our time putting in proposals for bids that we're not going to win anyway. And again, you may be wondering, why in the heck do you think you know that? Well, I've done it for 40 years and I've done billions of dollars worth of contracts, and I've just had enough experience that I know how to figure out whether something's wired or not. And we aren't going to waste time. That's a no-go circumstance. All right, now I'm going to show you the Google Documents form of what you're going to see on the website whenever you go to it. It's going to take a second to come up here. So I hope that answers your question, Craig. This is the form we'll be filling out. It's going to be updated daily. It's easier to see in this format. We're going to, once you become an associate member and you have filled out your NDA and agreement form and signed it, basically you just check it. We've shown you that before. You'll get this form of the document as well as what's on the web page. So this is easier to read. It's something you can put on a bigger scale on your computer. So right now, we've pretty much decided with our lack of people resources that if a closing date is something closer than about a week, unless it's really a simple project, we're probably not going to put a whole lot of work into it. So in this case, that would put us out to about the 29th or so. Oh, actually, it'd be a week till the 27th. So let's just look at a couple of these, and we're going to look at some that were actually put on here either yesterday or today. So I told you this was not something we had done from the start, but we did start yesterday. So this one was added yesterday, and it came from an email that we get every day. And if you become a BidNet member, which you can do for $90 once you're an associate member. This one is from April 12th. We get one of these every day. I'm going to actually go to the 20th, and we're going to look at that one. I believe that I have it saved here. Now that one's from the 16th, last Friday. Now I'm going to have to go to my email real quick and grab this. While I'm doing this, just take a second. Throw any questions or comments in that you have. Yeah, I actually have to do another search here. We don't get our BidNet from BidNet customer service. So I'm going to just search. I want to pull up the one from 19th because then we can look at that project that you just saw. Here it is. John, would you make sure to remind Jim, I'm still getting the one that you get for promotional products, and I'd rather I didn't get those just because it's confusing to me which of the two I get. So this is from the 19th. So that's where we took this project that we were looking at here. That we added, and we say that it's possible. And I haven't looked at this one yet, and it's due on the 27th, and it is landfill gas and leachate collection system monitoring and reporting. So when a landfill is formed with all kinds of organic material in the soil, anything that flows out of it as a liquid is called a leachate. And you always want to be able to monitor those and know what that is. But most landfills have collection systems. And if anything's escaping, that's not a good thing. So we're going to go and look at this project. Let's look quickly back and see where it was located. I didn't look at that. It's in California. Reed keeps doing this. I do it too. I'm going to change this. When he puts California in, he doesn't capitalize the A. It's really easy when you're typing for some reason to just not capitalize the A. All right, so we're going to go to this. There it is. Click on that. And we're going to download the documents because we're going to look at this thing. And I'm going to show you kind of what it takes to, this one actually has both the document that was the original specs, and it's got an attachment. So we'll look at both those. So this is prepared by BidNet. This is not something that's out in the government arena. So I'm going to have a Microsoft Word come up here because this is a Word document. And we're going to go through this just like I would go through it if I was the one leading to prepare a bid. Which, if we do this one, I probably will be the one leading it, unless some of you step up and want to help with it. I'll do attachment 1 after. My guess is attachment 1 was a bid extension date that they previously wanted this submitted sooner than the 27th. Palo Alto is where Stanford University is, a pretty cool place. I actually think I know where their landfill is. Don't know why Word's taking forever here to open, but this is must be a pretty big document, although it was only 900 kilobytes. Wasn't even a meg. Usually they're PDFs, and they open much more quickly. It's pretty rare that a government agency puts their proposal specs out in Word. I don't know why this is taking so long. I apologize. We might look at another project if something's going wrong here with my system and I just won't open this. This is one that we would bid. I've done a lot of landfill leachate work. We could easily put together something that we think we can win. I need to see this. There's something screwed here. I don't know why this isn't opening. I'll close that. Try it one more time and then. What? Oh, that's not the right one. That's an Excel document. What happened to I'll just download it again. I don't know what, it was here. Oh, it was gone. Okay. The state and local California it's not state, it's state and local categories. That's one of the things we have to fill out for for BidNet in the next day or so. Now, this is where it hung up before. I don't know why it's not opening Word. All right, I don't want to waste a lot of time with this, so we're going to look at another project. So we would go backwards now and go back to the list of bids, and we're going to just pick another one out. I'm going to pick one that I think is one that we could get. A natural resources plan. I think we could win that. This one's in Nevada, various locations. We'll download the documents. It's going to get a BidNet page again. So let's look a little bit at it. It says they include, the objective is to develop a natural resource plan that will help connect long range land use, transportation, and resource planning efforts. This is the agency, whatever that acronym is. Their goals are to create an inventory of natural resources in the Truckee Meadows. That's a beautiful area, by the way, right on the border of California and Nevada. Create a map of natural resource areas that should be protected. Create an inventory of organizations and contacts to manage and protect these natural resources. Identify natural resource issues and develop strategies to mitigate them. Make natural resource policy recommendations to be included in the Truckee Meadows regional plan. So, and this one's closing date on the 30th. It would be a bunch of work, my guess is, but we could get it done. So now let's open the solicitation. This is a PDF, so this will open easily. I don't know what was going on with Word there. So you can right away look at a spec from a government agency and know what it's going to require. This is a request for qualification. It's not a request for a proposal, which means it's unlikely that we have to put cost numbers and prices in. Instead, they're going to make a choice based on what they think is the most qualified group to do this. Now, because it's an RFQ, as they call, it is potentially likely this is wired, meaning it is truly somebody's that they've already decided is going to get it. So here's one of the cool things about BidNet is this is something you wouldn't get easily otherwise, but it's got the name of the person who's making the decision, which is Jeremy Smith. It's got their phone number, Jeremy's, and it's got an email address. I would call Jeremy and I would say, Jeremy, hi, this is Wayne Dorban. I'm with Environmental Professionals Network. We are considering putting together a proposal for your RFQ for the natural resource plan development. And I just had a few questions for you. In 10 minutes or less, I would figure out whether this project was wired. Can I teach you how to do that? Maybe, but it would probably be more if you just did it over and over and over again. So now I'm going to go back to the specs. I think I had them open, didn't I? Yeah. So right now, I still like it. Still a time frame that we could meet. We've already read about what they need. This part I'd want to read in more detail. I'm not going to read all of it right now. I'm going to kind of skim it. Truckee Meadows, again, is a beautiful place. It's probably a gorgeous meadow near the city of Truckee. And they just want to make sure this thing stays in a nice, ecologically balanced state into the future. Not a big project. This becomes a little bit of a negative. That's not a lot of money to do what I think they're asking for here. And I would be this would cause this to move a little more towards a no-go for me if the amount of work is going to be a lot to get this proposal done. Again, this was in the summary that we read. So they want a final, this is going to be 2 phases, 3 phases, no, 2 phases. First phase is development of a final scope of work with the selected consultant. So I don't know whether they're going to do that or we're going to work with them to do it. And then it will to do the rest of the tasks. So $50,000 project, 10% of that going into this really means that most of the project for it would be the phase 2 part that would be in the 45,000 range. So they're going to write the plan. We're going to be helping them collect the data. So that's good news. That means we're really going to act like a consultant for them. So this made me feel a little bit better about it. Here's what they want. So now this is going to get where we're going to see how much work we have to do. It has to be a brief letter of introduction on our letterhead. We're going to have to say what our qualifications are. Why can we do this? We've got them for this project. I've done any number of these kinds of plans. They want to know our experience. Got a lot of that. So these are all positives. They want a less than 2-page general approach. So they kind of want to make sure we understand what it is that they want us to do. You know, these first 3 things will take less than an hour to do because we have documents for all of this. This is probably a 3-hour effort, at least. So now we're talking about 4 hours to prepare this. References, that's going to be a little work. We've got lots of them, but we just don't keep them on file. That's one of the things that over time we will accumulate for all of our members and for what we do at EPN. So at first, it's going to take a little more time. And let's say that's another, they only want 2, but we'll give them more than that. Let's say that's another hour work. They do want fees here. And again, we have those. We know what those would be. And that's another hour. So we're up to 6 hours now. And then, you know, are we willing to do the whole thing for a flat fee, which is inclusive? And yeah, we would be. I don't think we'd do this unless we were. Then you always want to look how it needs to be submitted. You would be maybe a little surprised at how many government agencies are not in the 21st century as it relates to the way they accept proposals. In many cases, they want it hard copy. In many cases, you've got to send 1 original and up to 4 copies. You sometimes have to put in an envelope your proposal, and then in another envelope your price. Everyone's a little different. We haven't gotten there yet, so we'll see how this is done. So it's due Friday. It doesn't give a time. Most agencies will give a time. You're going to see next, I think, they're going to have a rankings for giving points for different part of your parts of your proposal. This is a very unsophisticated group. I can already see that. Now, this is just, again, telling you what you've got to submit. And then it says they'll select the best rated ones, then they're going to do an interview. That is typical, but that's a time eater. I mean, that's going to be at least another. I can see this as at least a 10-hour effort to get this proposal together for a $50,000 project. Probably not worth it. This is getting to be more and more towards a no-go. This is all sort of nonsense, saying that, you know, we could use you guys and get a lot of proposals, and then we'll just decide not to do it. That's not uncommon. It's a common statement. They anticipate that the interviews will be between the 10th and the 14th, and they really are going to make a decision pretty quickly. That's another positive. A lot of groups take way too much time to make decisions. I have another computer open here, and I've been reading some things off of it, and it only has a time on it for a short time. They're only going to deal with principals or their designated agency. That means they don't want to just have some big company have an administrative assistant put this all together, and then that's who they deal with. That makes sense. That's a good thing. And that's kind of the end of it. I would give this 50% chance that it's wired for somebody, maybe more. After I talked to Jeremy, I would probably be able to make that with 80 to 90% certainty whether it was wired for someone or not. Again, what wired means is they've already chosen who they're going to give this to. This is a really unsophisticated group. This is a poorly written specification, but easy, one that we could do. But a lot of time for a really small project. I see at least one more question here. I'm going to go to that real quick. Doug asks, is BidNet all government projects? Well, not government necessarily. It's all public agencies, public entities. So if you consider a school district a government, yeah. If you consider a fire department government, I guess that'd be more obvious. But let's say a golf course, is that government? Publicly owned, so I play golf, and most of the courses that I play at are not country clubs. They are owned by cities or public entities. So they're public entities is what BidNet gets information for. And there are a lot of companies that do what BidNet does. We interviewed 10 different companies before we made the choice to go with BidNet. So kind of running out of time. I'll quickly pull up one more proposal here, one more request for proposal. Just quickly, I'll show you how different it'll be than this one is. I usually just click go to top. I just didn't do it there. Let's go back to top. Here's one that's going to be a lot easier. And even though the date is the 25th, it's probably doable. So this is Lamb Pasas. It's in Texas, Asbestos Consulting. I bet that's a town. I don't know for sure. We'll find out here in a second. This is to do asbestos consulting. It's had 2 attachments, which means they've probably extended the date on this a couple times. I'm going to do this quickly so we can see this. Mark, I might be to the point where I've had so many tabs open that I cause my system to blow up. So this is quite different. So this is actually for public safety for the state of Texas. And it's probably one particular location where it's just Lampasas. This one, you have a very specific form you fill out. If you notice, that last one didn't have a form. So you have to do all of this. You got to tell them that you got the addendums. So I don't know that we're going to take the time to open those right now. But a form is easy. It can be done quickly. Just requires signatures and so on. Pricing. So they're looking for pricing here. I don't see anything yet about it. So it's for consulting. I talk about how your price has to be firm for 120 days. Let's do it. This one's more specific, 3 p.m. Don't get it in at 3:01. You're done if you don't get it in at the right time. My guess is this is not wired. This one is flat out, whoever has the lowest cost is going to get it, as long as they have they can show that they could do the project. I don't see much of a scope of work yet. Here we go. So now they may have even screwed this up. If you notice, they had another one for asbestos abatement, and this one was supposed to be consulting, and now here they've got stuff for abatement. It's not unusual for these companies to really screw up, for these agencies. So here are the people you would contact and say, why is, I was trying to do a bid for consulting, and in the specs you have, it talks about abatement. And they'd have to answer that. So it says you're supposed to be able, the abatement is taking out flooring. This is a little screwy, but easy. You don't have to go view these things. Asbestos is asbestos. It all looks the same. This is when it needs to be done during the day. Here it shows what it is. It's a pretty small building. This is an offices. There's 2 phases to it. Pretty simple. I'll just give you an idea. Let's see how big these are. Let's see up here. 2,100 square feet. This is a $10,000 project, and really easy. And there are 50 different asbestos consultants in wherever, within 100 miles, 200 miles, or wherever Lampasas, Texas is, that can do this project. So we would, as EPN, go out and find one of them and say, give us a number. Have you seen this? Are you already going to bid? I mean, you ask those questions first. All right, well, that was a very different one. A lot less time to do this, a big amount of time until we get a bunch of asbestos consultants in EPN is to find the right guy to do this. And I don't understand why they mixed abatement here with consulting, which they had earlier. So, it says here, this is abatement consulting. We'd have to talk to people here to figure this one out. This could be done in 2 or 3 hours. This is not a 10-hour process at all. And that's all you fill out right here. Looks like they want you to talk to Stephanie Herrera. John Millen, my partner, is amazing at talking to administrators. And so we'd probably have John do the talking here. We need to maybe do this one, John. This one's pretty easy. All right, well, that's 2 different kinds. If I showed you 10 of these, there'd be just little bits of differences between each one of them. But you start to look at them and you start to see, well, there's only about 3 categories. There's ones that just want pricing, that's this one. There's ones that want proposals with pricing, that was what we looked at before. And then there's ones that just want qualifications, no pricing. The easiest are the ones that just require pricing. The most difficult are the ones that require a proposal plus pricing. And in the middle is the ones that are just qualifications and a proposal that way. So that's all I have for today. We're going to start bidding on these things. We are going to need this one. We need an asbestos abatement contractor in Texas. I don't know any of those, but I can find them. We can find them. But honestly, any of you who want to start getting involved with this, who have either already become associate members or want to, and if anybody wants this BidNet product, the only way you can get it is to be at least an associate member, associate or an advisor. And this is, there's not the top, this is up here in terms of quality, BidNet is, and the next of the 10 that we interviewed is down here. That's how much better BidNet is than anybody else. John, do you have any comments about BidNet you want to put into the Q&A? Mark, is there anything I missed that we talked about before I started when we were prepping? Again, anybody else has comments, questions, you want us to unmute you, we can do it. We are kind of at our time here, but we'll stay as long as we have work to do. Well, that's John. That's John. I'll unmute John. So John, you got your mic. You are unmuted. Yo, John, you're unmuted. Yeah, I see that from Doug. Yes, Doug. BidNet does every category you can imagine. We're environmental, ecological, so we don't care about, frankly, don't care about manufacturing. For you individually, I could help if you became a BidNet member under our user account. We would be able to add those so that you could see projects that were product development or manufacturing. Unfortunately, that's probably such a huge number that we might ask to get it done a little differently. John, he must have not wanted to be unmuted. So he had his hand up, but don't know what that meant. Because I've tried to unmute him and he doesn't seem to be out there. All right, anybody else? Any other thoughts or questions? Anybody willing to dig their hands in and help get some of these projects? You don't have to answer that yes or no right now, but that's what we're going to be looking for. All right, I'm not hearing anything else. Is there any other questions? You guys have been awesome. Again, this is not our typical webinar production. By the way, we just today got this fellow. I'm going to show you his website just as I'm waiting to see if anybody is going to throw any other questions in. Last thing here, this is only tangentially related to EPN. This is the project I showed you last week, La Vicha, which is the one we're going to work at down in the Dominican and Haiti area. So here is, again, a picture of the island right here, the master plan. And we're going to be in charge of all the eco preserve, and all the agriculture, and also the power. So this is completely off grid right now. And that's the goal, is to keep it in a non-fossil fuel type of circumstance. We meet every Tuesday, Doug. Same station. So, but let me find this one for. I might have shut it down. It's a fellow named, no, here it is. Yes. Steve Scher, and he's the executive director of a group called No Till. And it's an amazing group that promotes regenerative agriculture. And we're going to have him as one of our speakers for us. And he probably will do a course after he speaks one time. So we're excited about that. All right, I don't see any other questions. We will be same time, same station next week. We're looking for people to be truly active members now. That's what we're trying to do here. Is we're in the working mode now. EPN is going to start getting some contracts. We'll have at least 2 or 3 proposals done by next week, and we're going to win 1 or more of those. So thanks, everybody. And Mike, unless again I don't see anything else, why don't you go ahead and take us out, John, or Mark, excuse me.